In this video, I'm going to be reviewing every Hasbro prop replica from the MCU that I own. Since I have a lot to say for them, I split this video into 2 parts, so if you haven't seen part 1 yet, go check that out if you're interested. Let me know which ones you have or want, and let's get into it. Okay, so I do have to film this one a little bit differently because these are just massive. So this one is the Infinity Gauntlet from Infinity War, and this is the Gauntlet from Endgame. These 2 things are amazing. I remember being super excited for this one. This one, I mean, not so much, but it was still a pretty cool thing. And obviously you're supposed to put it around your arm, which I will do in a second. But just looking at them side by side, you can see they're pretty much the same size. Thanos wears that and Hulk wears that, so it makes sense that they're huge. But before I go into them individually, I just want to say that both of their functionalities are from the Mind Stone here in the middle. You press both of them and the lights will turn on along with the sound. It's going to be pretty loud, but as you can see, they both have their own sound effects respectively to the gauntlet that they are. And they both kind of have the same function on the inside where you grip on inside there. And then each finger has its own kind of function, as you could see. For the Endgame one, there is a robotic sound every time you move it appropriately, which is really cool. And when you go all 5, there is going to be the Infinity Stone sounds, as you could see there. And for the Infinity War one, obviously it's going to be the same, just more Thanos related sounds, which is really cool. So yeah, each individual finger will make a chain type of sound here. And a nice little detail that Hasbro added for the display features of these is, if you notice, the fingers are down and my hands are out, but it's because of this little latch here. It's once you pose the gauntlet up in the way you want to, go ahead and bring this latch down and it will lock all the fingers. Same thing with the red gauntlet, it's right there below the yellow stone. So obviously it's down right now, but if you want to go ahead and release it so all the fingers come up, just go ahead and go like this and it's all released. But focusing on the detail of the Thanos one first, obviously there is going to be this bronze type of gold paint found all around, and it is very well done. It's not just flat, there is kind of some varnishy paint going all around, which is nice. The sculpting work on every single piece of this is amazing. I remember how excited people were when this first came out. Everyone thought it was the coolest thing ever, and you still see people wearing this around at cons and everything. So that just goes to show how much of an iconic thing this is that Hasbro made. The detail on the stones is pretty cool, just a simple texture for each one with translucent plastic in the respective colors. On the other side of the palm, it is more smooth, but this one has some chainmail on it, which is really cool. You have this kind of dotted texturing going all around the glove, and I love how it looks when it's lit up. As you can see, that is the coolest thing ever. The batteries though do go in this little compartment down here. On this one it's a lot smaller than the Endgame one, which you'll see, but yeah, just this little piece comes off and the speakers and the batteries will be revealed. You kind of just pop this back into place. But yeah, this thing is amazing. It's kind of perfect in my eyes. I guess the only thing I could wish for more was finger control, but it's not like anyone's hands will fit in this. Like, this thing is massive, so it makes sense why they did what they did. As for the Endgame one, it's just as cool. It's pretty much the same thing, except of course an Iron Man vibe, since Iron Man's the one that made this one. On the other side, I really love the padding texturing they got going on. It's very accurate to the movie. The red and gold is a very nice color, once again similar to the Iron Man from earlier. Excuse the dust, by the way. But yeah, on this one obviously there's a lot more detailing, since it's Iron Man. Of course he's gonna have more intricate details than Thanos and his golden glove. But yeah, even on the inside middle part where the Mind Stone goes, there's a lot of little tiny details. You can see the type of wires they went for and all the metal plating. You can see these are fake screws, but they decided to put them on anyway. It's just such a detailed thing. Each stone is pretty much the same thing from Thanos, you know, it makes sense. They're the exact same stones. Like I said, their functions are the same, so seeing this lit up is just way better than not. But yeah, I think they nailed the look overall. Like I said, I wasn't as excited for this one as I was for the Thanos glove, but honestly that makes sense just because the Infinity Gauntlet is such an iconic piece, and this one was kind of just something made for Endgame, but it's still cool nonetheless. Like I said earlier, the batteries go in the same spot, but this one's just massive for some reason. I'm not sure why, but even when you take it off, there's still detail and stuff, which is really interesting to see. I didn't expect them to put anything like that, but they did. They went all out for these things. They knew these things would be a hit, and they were not wrong. But yeah, these are really cool to see next to each other, especially because we never see them together in the movie, which makes sense honestly. But it's so impressive how much detail they put on each of these and how different of vibes they are, and they nailed both of them. These are definitely in my favorites for the replicas, not gonna lie, but there might be a little bit of bias for this one since this one had like 10 years of hype backing it. This one just looks cool in my opinion, but nonetheless, they are both fantastic. The next one I have is the Spider-Man or Iron Spider suit from Infinity War, and man, I like it, but I don't at the same time. Like, it's a really cool helmet. It's a really cool, like, you know, product. Seeing as it's supposed to be Spider-Man and how accurate Hasbro got it on all the other ones pretty much so far, it's just so weird to see Spider-Man represented as a full, like, solid helmet. Like, Spider-Man literally wears a mask. He takes that off and it's cloth. Now, I understand Hasbro can't make a cloth mask with like light up features and all that. It's pretty much just a Spirit Halloween costume at that point. But like I said, cool product, difficult concept to kind of like make accurate, I guess, considering how accurate all the other ones were. But ignoring that and seeing it just as a product or helmet, it is really nicely done. There's not much detail to go into it. It's just Spider-Man. It's just all the details going to be in the webbing pattern. It's a nice metallic red color to represent the Iron Spider, and the most detail you're going to get is on the eye lenses with the black layering found all around, and as well as the white kind of webbing pattern on the inside for the eyes. So I think that's pretty well done. And something else I think is really well done is the hiding of the batteries. Like, they really could have just hid it in the mouthpiece like how they did for Iron Man, but what they did was actually you kind of pop this part off up here and it's like perfectly hidden. Not gonna lie, you can't really tell. I kind of forgot where the batteries were, not gonna lie, before this recording, but it's all up here. You kind of just take 2 batteries. The others take 3, but this one just takes 2, and I think it's because there are no sound effects with this one. And the light up controls are on the inside, which is controlled by this one button right here. But while we're on the inside, let's just take a look at that really quickly. You could see that there's kind of like this computerized texturing all around, which is a nice touch. I kind of wish it was black. We've seen the inside of a Spider-Man costume in No Way Home, so I thought that would be a really nice touch to do, but it doesn't really matter. No one's gonna like invert this. Like I said, it's a helmet, not a mask. If you press that button, you can see the eyes are glowing blue. And then just like the Iron Man one, the more you press it, the dimmer it gets. But once you press it another time, it will shine red for the instant kill mode, which you can kind of see if I turn it. Now, I've never been a big fan of the Iron Spider thing itself. I always thought it was kind of like too technology forward for Spider-Man. I guess that's not really Hasbro's fault. They're just following the movie. So as the character, it's accurate. I just never was a fan of the glowing eye look for Spider-Man. Like I said, as a product, this is really awesome. I love it overall, but in terms of the accuracies, it's lower on kind of my mental tier list of these helmets. On the opposite side of things, here I have a helmet that I love for its accuracy. This is the Ant-Man helmet, kind of the second design from the MCU, and overall this is one of my favorite helmet designs from the MCU in general, so there may be a little bit of bias, but as a helmet and the accuracies to the MCU, this thing nails it in my opinion, not gonna lie. This one, like the Spider-Man one, does not have any sound effects, but has multiple points of light. Other than that, there's not much interactivity with this one, but the details in my opinion really make up for it. Like, all around this thing, it's just amazing detail, and the texturing found on the backside and the sides of the helmet is just great and really nicely done. Also, the way that they hid the batteries on this one, you kind of just pop the mouthpiece off and it reveals this, which I think is pretty creative, because I think in the movies he does this sometimes. I vaguely remember a part where the mouthpiece comes off. I might have been on the first helmet he's ever worn. But either way, I like that little hidden feature. Speaking of hidden things, the button is pretty nicely hidden right here on the jaw area. You kind of just press this once and it goes red, obviously for the shrinking effect. Press it again, it goes blue for the Giant Man effect, and you press it again and it turns off. But I think it looks great either way. Like I said earlier, multiple points of light. Here you have it on the tip of the antenna back here, more so on the jaw. There's actually 2 points there, so that's all 3 of the points, technically 6. So yeah, overall, just accuracies on this thing are amazing. As you can tell, I'm a sucker for accuracy when it comes to these Hasbro products, and I think they nailed it on this one. Despite this one being one of my favorites, I don't have much to say in it just because I feel like it's perfect. Like, I just don't think they could have improved anymore. I was excited to get this one at the time, and I still am really excited just looking at it. But yeah, I feel like no matter what your opinion is on Ant-Man, you gotta admit this is one of their better helmets in terms of the looks. On to the last replica of this video, I have here the Endgame glove that Iron Man used in the movie. Unlike the Infinity War and Endgame gauntlets, your fingers actually go inside here. There's kind of a silicone type material, so your fingers can bend in there, which is a really cool touch. And you'd think this is pretty much the same thing, but this is really not. On this one, you could remove the stones, and it's a really cool play feature. As you can see, when you do, it takes away the power of each stone that you take away. So as you can see, they connect by magnets, and once you put it back on, it lights back up, and all of them kind of interact with one another As you can see, you could do it with the blue one as well. It goes away, you know, once again, the magnets, and you put it back in. Oh, I'm not sure why that one didn't light up. Oh, there we go. And it lit up, and it all lights up and interacts with each other. And once again, if you press on the Mind Stone, it pretty much powers them all up with this nice pulsating feature. And since you can move your fingers to actually snap in this one, it does this snapping feature, and it just makes you feel like Iron Man. This is pretty much the same thing as I reviewed. It's just a different size, a little less detailed, because it's more of Iron Man's hand rather than a gauntlet he made. So yeah, all the colors are the same, you know, the red, gold, silver. But it's not to say that the details and stuff that they put into this thing are any less. It's still an amazing display piece overall. I love the interactivity of this one. They really put some thought into it, and I really love that they didn't kind of just cash grab it and made it the exact same product but smaller. They decided to give it some accuracies. And I love the play feature that you can take these stones off. It's just such an interactive thing, and it's so cool how when you put it back on, it powers on again. So yeah, overall, as simple as this one is, it's one of my more favorite ones as well. That's everything I have concluded with part 2. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. Let me know which helmets you have or want from this video, part 1 or part 2. Like, comment, and subscribe if you have not already, and I will see you guys in the next video.